Mr. Smith is getting ready, this was going to be on your consent agenda, but it's an opportunity for James to talk about some of the great things that he's been doing in Parks and Rec. He is another amazing asset to Louisa County. And this grant and the associated capital funding that the county has been afforded for the upcoming fiscal year is just a great opportunity for him to talk about some of the great things that he's doing and how they're going to benefit us in the future. So, James, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chair and fellow board members. As Christian mentioned, I want to take this opportunity to provide an update on potential proposed and ongoing enhancements at the Betty Queen Center that are a result of the grant that Mr. Goodman mentioned, as well as the fiscal year 23 CIP budget. Before I do that, I do want to take a second just to acknowledge my appreciation on behalf of Parks and Recreation for the board members that were served as judges this weekend, Mr. Barnes, Mr. Williams, Mr. Gentry, and Mr. Adams. Thank you very much for coming out. We appreciate your service, and it's always nice to see you all at the Betty Queen Center. So feel free to come down whenever you want.
I will remind you, I've already volunteered to be a judge at the barbecue cook-off next year.
Next year and the year after. As I mentioned, I want to talk a little bit about the ongoing and proposed enhancements at the Betty Queen Center. But before I do that, I want to talk about the goals that we hope to meet with these enhancements. The first goal, and I don't know, do I have a clicker up here?
Hey, Dwayne. Oh, no, that's a different one.
Oh, okay. So which way do I?
Right and left?
All right. All right, so the first goal that we hope to achieve is we want to develop amenities that will enhance the experience of our child care participants. And it's almost a theme tonight with the school system, DHS, and now Parks and Rec, focusing on child care. I don't think we could have planned it any better. But our program offers child care, as you may know, at every elementary school. But during the summer, we have child care at the elementary school, but we also have 2 weeks of child care that we provide at the Betty Queen Center, a center that wasn't really designed for or designed specifically for child care. So we've been making enhancements with grant money to create programs, create opportunities that will enhance not just the education, but bringing the kids together, teaching them how to work together, how to come together and build relationships. So we have 2 weeks throughout the summer. We also do 1 day each week where we bring the kids up to the aquatic facility, and they usually come down to the Betty Queen Center as well. We provide care at the Betty Queen Center on teacher work days, holidays, spring break week. So there are a lot of times throughout the school year where even though the Betty Queen Center is not one of our listed destinations for child care, we provide child care there. So we want to be able to make sure we provide opportunities that will enhance their experience. So that's one of the goals. We want to create a centrally located, multifaceted park. So when I see people, parents who come drop their kids off for basketball practice and sit in the car and wait on them, you know, why couldn't they go walk a trail, go down, sit on a park bench at a green space, you know, maybe take other kids or play pickleball. You know, these are some of the things that I'm hoping to meet with these enhancements. The last goal is to establish sustainable enhancements that also support the operational needs of both the department and the recreational needs of the community. So as I talk a little about these enhancements, hopefully I touch on, all right, here we go. I touch on each of these areas. First of all, the categories are broken down into two categories. These enhancements are broken down into two categories. The first one is grant funded, and the second one is fiscal year 23 CIP funded. So the good news is I'm not asking for any money tonight. That's the good news. Grant funded, we've already started the installation of a projector and audio-visual system in the great room at the Betty Queen Center. I have a picture of that shortly that I'll share with you. We want to create functional green space that includes park lighting. If you're familiar with the Betty Queen Center, the area between the playground and where the pavilion is, there's nothing but trees. But there's an opportunity for us to clear out some trees, plant some grass, and have a nice green space area. We're not looking for an athletic field. We're just looking for a green space where people can come out and relax, walk, throw frisbee, whatever it may be at that site. We also want to use the current disc golf trails back there to develop walking trails. Again, this area where they can walk around, relax, just a functional, multifaceted recreational facility that meets the needs of the whole family. For the fiscal year 23 CIP funded proposed enhancements, we want to focus on, first of all, updating and enhancing the playground. I think Mr. Adams would agree there's some areas of need there with the playground. We want to remove the fitness equipment that is there, that is currently installed, replace that with some additional equipment. But we also want to be able to have what's called inclusive play equipment and sensory playground equipment as well. Right now, we don't have enough equipment there that will meet the needs of everybody. So we want to be able to enhance the equipment, update the equipment, remove some equipment that may not be as safe as it should be, and add equipment that will, again, enhance the experience of all the citizens or the youth that are participating there. All right, so childcare. If you see the picture on your, that's the projector and the screen that was installed recently. It's still not up and running yet, but it's close to it. From a childcare perspective, we want to be able to provide movies, games, instructional content. But there's a big wellness component right now. If you go on YouTube and click on kids exercise, you'll see exercise programs for youth. So that although we may not be able to hire staff that's trained and certified to provide exercise programs, now we have access to online programs that we can stream that will allow us to incorporate exercise, yoga, different things like that within our child care programs. And you say, why do you need a big screen? If you imagine you've had 30, 40 kids and one little TV, that's not going to cut it. But having a big screen in a room like the great room allows us to meet those needs, both from a standpoint of the instructional content and also from a wellness component. There's an operational need for our department. We have an area where we call educational enrichment programs, being able to utilize the big screen and the projector to teach some of those programs. For presentations, for staff training, another areas of opportunity. And for the community, for community meetings, presentations, special events. I know on more than one occasion there have been town hall meetings down at the Betty Queen Center. There's also been other meetings, but it also can serve as an overflow for potential board meetings as well. So it kind of meets the needs of the community. Functional green space. So as I was talking about the areas between the playground, which is the bottom area, and then the pavilion, which is kind of hard to see, but let's say if you keep on going up to the health department. So in there, I would like to clear out a little over 1 acre of land of trees, open it up, and create some green space. Around that green space, we're looking to, again, utilize the trails that are back there already for the disc golf course, but to make a nice walking trail down there, which means a lot wider than what it is, clear it out, open it up so people feel comfortable walking back there as well. Childcare, recreational and programming. I talked about the opportunities throughout the year that they come up to the Betty Queen Center, having a space like that. Again, not athletic field, but it's a flat green space will allow them to get out of the Betty Queen Center, do more activities outside. So it's programmable for outdoor activity, operational for the department. For those that were there this weekend, imagine if we had space down there to put the vendors outside instead of, on a nice day, instead of having the vendors inside the gym. Things like that would allow us to have a site where we have parking, where we have facilities, where we have our resources, and then we have a space outside to expand the services and the programs that we're trying to offer. From a community standpoint, again, back to the centralized theme, having more than one service and program there, having outdoor activity, and again, increased recreational space. Lastly, I want to talk a little bit about updating the playground in more detail. So what we're looking to do, again, is to, first of all, let me just acknowledge that the Betty Queen Center playground is probably the most utilized playground in our park system. What we hope to do is, what we'll do is remove the fitness equipment. So if you're looking at the picture, the fitness equipment is actually to the left, and it's kind of the furthest away from the actual parking lot. So we want to remove the fitness equipment, add more freestanding, inclusive play, and sensory playground equipment. We also want to be able to add picnic tables, park benches. Right now we have one pavilion with 2 benches in there, or 2 picnic tables in there. So if you want to come out and eat lunch while your kids play, either you're going to sit out on a bench or you're going to stand, or maybe get out of the heat and come in the Betty Queen Center. But it's not set up right now to be conducive to families coming out, spending time there, and enjoying themselves. So that's update the playground. Oh, last I want to talk about, and I have some facts here from the USA Pickleball 2022 fact sheet. Pickleball has been one of the programs that through COVID, before COVID, and coming out of COVID, has been one of our strongest programs. It's one of our largest ongoing programs as well. We offer pickleball 4 days a week down at the Betty Queen Center. What I would like to do is to build an outdoor pickleball facility that has 2 pickleball courts. It allows us the opportunity to now incorporate pickleball, non-gym pickleball times. But the biggest thing I think that allows us to do is to also to get youth involved. If you look at the fact sheet, I'll just start at the top and go down. Some of the facts that came from there. First of all, pickleball participation grew 14.8% in 2021. That's after a year of growing 21%. So pickleball is just steadily growing. Youth ages 6 through 17 years old represent the second highest percentage of total pickleball participants. 6 to 17-year-old represented the second highest percentage of total pickleball participants in 21, which is 21.2%. In 2021, approximately 66 new pickleball locations opened each month in the United States. It's a fast-growing sport. It's a very popular sport, but it also provides exercise opportunities for not only youth but adults as well. So I would like to build an outdoor pickleball facility there at the Betty Queen Center as well. Questions, comments?
Do you have any questions for Mr.
I got a comment. James, thank you for what you do. You and your staff do a tremendous job. I know Justin was instrumental in working a lot of that barbecue thing y'all had this weekend. You had to shift on the fly, move from the park, and I just want to say it was a great event and looked like it was well attended as well. And you and your staff did a tremendous job putting it on, and we thank you for that.
Great, thank you.
I'd just like to say something. Thank you for that presentation, and thank you for everything. And I'll tell you, as a family who has, in the last year, become a crazy pickleball family, my husband, who plays it now 4 days a week, we would welcome any additional courts and expansion. Yeah, it is a fast-growing sport.
Yes.
A lot of people up in the western end of the county are playing it a lot. So,
Mr. Gentry?
James, again, thanks for your presentation. I just want to add that the Park and Rec Commission that I'm liaison on, and Debbie's also a member, has discussed these issues and very much supportive of what Mr. Smith is proposing. And I have to add that James knows this, that every time Debbie saw him in the last 2 years, one topic has always been there, and that was pickleball. So we're finally coming through, and it's going to be well appreciated. And again, thank you for everything you do.
Sure, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
James, did you give us your estimate of total attendees, and I just didn't hear it on Saturday? Or
4,000.
A bunch.
really?
I don't know. I made that number up.
A whole lot, a whole lot.
Leaving everything.
1,000 throughout the whole day.
It started early, though. I mean, really, it was people there early on and stayed consistent. all
It
day.
was steady. You know, I wanted to make a couple comments. Number one, I'm glad that the board made a substantial commitment to upgrading parks and recreation facilities in the budget that we just passed. My hope is that's the first step, and that we continue to look at that as we move forward. And It's interesting, you mentioned it because we've had the conversation. The second time tonight I've mentioned my granddaughter because she goes there. And truthfully, for 20 years, I never went. Once our kids got past that stage, we never had a reason to go to playground. But when we take our granddaughter and we go to the Betty Queen Center probably at least once a week, it's packed. I mean, it doesn't matter when you go, it's packed. There's always a lot of people there. And I think your vision for what you've laid out is great. And I think there's a lot of opportunity to even expand upon that in the next couple of years because, again, I don't know that if maybe the county administrators pulling the switches here tonight, but everything we've heard tonight, school system, human services, parks and rec, I mean, they line up, you know,
Right.
and they all go hand in hand. And I just, the event on Saturday, it moved on the fly. It was well attended. It was well coordinated. It was well staffed. You were a big part of that. And the more that we can do to engage our community and the more that we can do to engage children and people of every age in physical activity is a positive. And I think we've got an opportunity there. But I also think we have opportunities across the county and some of our other parks. And I really would like to see this board, as we move forward in future budgets, to continue to look at that and continue to make those investments in our park system. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I did want to make one comment. James, thanks for all that you do and your staff. Yeah, I agree with the chairman. I think it's good, the investments we've made, and hopefully we'll continue to make. Curiously enough, I've been doing some business the last few months in Powhatan County. Had the opportunity to go in front of their boards and planning commissions, and they're debating whether to build an intergenerational center. And around that debate, which came up at budget time, was, do you think it'll be used? And I had to tell them, in my experience, it will be used. I don't know what your financial situation is, but I know it's busy out there, and that's a great thing. But thanks again for all you do, and will continue to do.
Great. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, may
Yes.
I just speak?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if anybody here knows this, but I took a class at the Betty Queen Center, an exercise class, right before COVID, before the shutdown. And the instructor worked in the treasurer's office here, and she and I got to know each other. And so when a position became available in my office, she applied for it and got it. And I think you miss that, you know, having a shared interest in health and you know, wellness and networking are some of the bigger benefits that you don't think of, but that was directly because of the Betty Queen Center. Thank you.
That's awesome. That's
All
really
right.
nice.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.